Hello, everybody. Here we go. We're our third week in a row on our Zoom call. We're excited to be here. We have some very great things to go over tonight concerning the program and where we're going. And so I'd like to go over what we're going to talk about tonight. Then we'll get right into our introduction. So we have the introduction of what we're going to, how we always acknowledge our higher power, the Most High God. Then we're going to get into something that is very, very important, which is direct deposits, getting away from cash payments, getting away from writing checks, because honestly, it's causing problems at the bank because we're clearing 150 checks a week, and all of them, well, a lot of them have to go through a fraud alert, and it's going to be so much easier to do direct deposit and an ACH. Then we want to go over something that we've been creating called the Millionaire Map. The Millionaire Map simply will tell you your timeline on your journey toward millionaire status. We'll go over recent crypto events that happened in the market, what we can realistically expect from the market the way it is right now. We will briefly talk about the legacy program, which is the fifth program that only a select few people are in right now, and the 20 to 25 available spots that are open. Then every week we want to have something from the community. So we'll do, it will be the community voice. So somebody will speak from the community. And tonight we have Mr. Roosevelt Benjamin talking about the program and his programmatic experience and his thoughts on the program. Then we'll be closing. So with all of that said, let's get right into it. So I spoke in church this week, and one of the things I spoke about happened a long time ago, and I always will call it in my mind, who's your bodyguard? Okay. My kids, when they were very young, had a friend, and his name was Little AJ. And seriously, AJ was, they called him Little AJ for a reason, because AJ was a very little guy. But he was great friends with my kids and the family, and he would be over every single day playing with the boys. And like any dad does, I used to wrestle the kids a lot and joke around with them, push them and run through the house, make them catch me and chase me. And we did it all the time. But one day, as I was irritating the boys, trying to get them to chase me down, I mentioned to them something they never heard before. I said, hey, Little AJ, by the way, is my new bodyguard. Now, he was the smallest man in the house, was not robust at all. I said, he's my bodyguard. And if any of you guys ever intend to touch me again, you will have to go through AJ. All right. You got to go through my bodyguard. Now, AJ was petrified when I said this because my four boys were chomping at the bit. So I would antagonize them, yell at them, push them, and I would literally stand behind AJ. And one day it all got to a boiling point, and I saw that the boys were about to tear AJ from limb to limb. So just as they were about to devour him on their way to me, I grabbed AJ's arms and I began to operate his body, and I completely dismantled my four boys. Throw one down, threw another on top of him, did it all through AJ. And then I literally picked AJ up, sent him on his way, and I stood in front of the boys and said, hey, nobody's getting to AJ, because at that point they were ready to kill AJ. I did it time and time again, and every time it worked to perfection. It irritated my kids. But the real point of the story is AJ was just little guy with a little bit of strength. He had no ability to overpower kids, okay? None whatsoever. But he had a force behind him that was working and was stronger than the collective army of my kids. And because of what stood behind AJ, this little guy with very little power was able to dismantle giants. Not because of AJ, but because of the force behind AJ that was greater than the opposition. And I say that today because I want our program to be God-centered. We're trying to do something impossible, inviting and believing God for 400 millionaires between 2025 and 26. This is a gargantuan challenge But if we get there, and when we get there, because we will get there, I promise you we will get there. It's not going to be because of our ingenuity or our genius. It will be because of the blessing that stands behind us, the force of God that stands behind us and is with us, that will protect us when the big boys are coming after us, and will protect us when the markets begin to change and shift, that our team collectively can cross this finish line together. So with that being said, as always, we start our meeting by giving thanks to God, because without him, there's no obstacles that we can truly overcome. So with that said, let's keep moving. First thing on our list after that is the direct deposits. Now, I said to the staff this week, I am proud of you guys, because we went from processing 150 payments a week that happened right in our office. And we stopped all of that because the office was overcrowded, and problems were happening because of it. People couldn't work because we were handling so many people. And the staff wrote checks by hand, envelopes by hand, and they pushed out so many checks and so many envelopes so that people could get paid. And now that was the first step. Now the second step is we're going from that to direct deposit. Now, this week, we will be sending you your envelope with your final check. Everything should be caught up by Thursday, okay? It will be leaving our office on Thursday. If you get your envelope, inside of it will be a direct deposit form, okay? If you have not filled out this direct deposit form, you need to get it back to the office immediately. All future payments will be done via direct deposit, okay? No more checks, because we're processing so many checks at the bank. All of them have a fraud alert. If I don't respond to the fraud alert in time, they will return them checks unpaid. And I don't want that to happen to anybody. Plus, it creates more work for us on the back end. So it will be direct deposit. You fill out your form, you get it back ASAP. Because on the tail end of that, you will be getting paid as a direct deposit into your bank account. Now, along those lines, if you get your envelope this week and you feel like, man, I think I might be missing a week of payment or maybe 2 weeks of payment, this is the process that you need to enact, and this is how it will be handled. If you're missing a payment, call the office and say, hey, I believe I'm missing my payment for, let's say, November 4th and November 11th. If for whatever reason it did not get to you, that payment somehow was added back to your account balance. So let's say you have $1,000 account and your payment was $100. If you didn't get that $100 payment, that would mean now your account, instead of being $1,000, will be $1,100, okay? So you didn't lose credit for your money, but it may have been redirected to your account if it wasn't sent out in time. If you need that 50-50 payment, all you have to do is say, I didn't get paid on November 4th. The office will verify it. And then, can you pay me? Yes, you'll be in your account via direct deposit if you filled out your forms. If you missed a payment or two and you do not care, you can still call the office and verify that. And then you say, oh, you know what? It's in my account. I don't need it. And then that will be fine. And then you can move on that way. But that is how we're handling things now. Direct deposit. Now, if we're processing 150 checks a week, and then the other expenses of our week, our office people are doing 175 movements a week, and we don't want that. So in the future, now the community has a voice in this, but in the future, if you're in the 50-50 program, and when I say the future, I mean the new year, we will be moving to, or the debate is, once a month payments or bi-weekly, but we will be moving away from the weekly 50-50 payment. We are pushing that to January to give anybody time to make the adjustments and changes they need so that they can handle their financial situations, or so that they're not coming up short on bills or for whatever they need their 50-50. So you can ride and cruise along the highway of the current system until January. But when we get to January, it will be a bi-weekly payment, probably the 15th and 30th of the month, or it will be monthly. I invite everybody just shoot me a message on the inbox in the Discord. You don't have to say anything, but bi-weekly's cool, monthly's cool, and we'll tally up the voices of the community and we will accommodate what you guys want to do. But the one thing we can no longer do is weekly, because that is interrupting our ability to make you money, quite honestly, because nobody has to pay for membership in this program. So all of the office staffing and the expense of it really just comes directly out of the pocket. So we don't want a monumentous load of office work for people, because if they're doing that, they have an inability to make you money, and we need the office doing the things that's going to grow your personal finances, as opposed to doing paperwork, right? Because that's counterproductive on our millionaire journey. Moving right along, the next thing we have is something we're calling in the office our Millionaire Map. In the very beginning of our program, if you join the program, we look at your numbers and your account, say, you're projected to make X amount of money this week, and it will grow, it will climb, it will escalate. But we have moved away from that, and I want everybody to know that, because there are market tendencies and the market makes movements that make it difficult to hit a very stable number week to week to week. Now, over the long haul, we can hit that number, but week to week to week, the fluctuations are great. And I know sometimes people are disappointed because they're expecting a little bit more, but we can only take what the market gives us, okay? We cannot take more. When this program first started, and this is 14, 16 months ago, the market was very strong. It was very, very easy to hit that 10% weekly goal. But if you pay attention, as the Feds continue to raise the interest rate, the market continues to go down. It's a little bit depressed, and it is very difficult to hit that goal of 10% a week. So instead of telling you a dollar amount per week, we are now projecting out something on our millionaire map. And this is how it goes. So if Johnny comes into a program and Johnny says, hey, I want to be in the Future Millionaires Club, and Johnny puts $1,000 in the program, if our team goes to work for Johnny consistently and Johnny provides support to us and encouragement along the way, in 4 years and 6 months, Johnny should cross the finish line and technically be a millionaire, okay? Now, if I put $1,000 somewhere and I forget about it, and I mean forget about it, and then I come back 4 years later and I had $500,000 off my $1,000, I should go out into the street and I should be dancing, and all the neighbors should say, "Why are you so happy?" Okay, but if we do this right, at 3% per week, if Johnny put $1,000 in 4 years and 6 months, Johnny will be a millionaire, according to the Millionaire Map. Now, if Susie comes in and puts $2,500 in 3 years and 10 months, Susie should be a millionaire. If Mark comes in and puts $5,000 in 3 years and 5 months, Mark should cross the finish line. If Robert puts in $10,000 in 2 years and 11 months, Robert should cross the finish line. Now, this is if you are in the 100% program, okay? The 100% program is like driving down the highway in the fast lane. You will move fastest towards your millionaire goal in that program. If you want to take a slower road, which is fine, because the important thing is that you are on the road, but the slower road, if Susie or if Johnny comes in with $1,000 and says, I want to be in the 50-50 program, well, it would take 9 years for him to cross the millionaire threshold. Now that's incredible to do with $1,000, but understand in your mind the time frame. It will take you 9 years. If somebody comes in with 2,500, if they're in a 100% program, it takes 3 years and 10 months. But if they're in the 50-50, it'll take 7.5 years. Okay. If you bring 5,000, and it will take you 3 years and 5 months in the 100, and the 50-50 is going to take you 7 years. So I want everybody's mind to be shaped around these things. If you do not need the $200 or $300 or $400 every week you're getting in the 50-50, it is better to watch your money stack up in your account, because it will compound stronger than to watch it stack up and slide it under your mattress, because it will put you down the road toward millionaire status much faster. Now, I echoed this last week and I'll echo it again. If you don't need your 50-50, especially in a time like this when the market's a little bit depressed, say, I don't want it, roll it over, roll it over, roll it over. Because if it rolls over, it accelerates you towards your millionaire goal. Now, let me put something in perspective for you. And because I did a little research, let's say I have $10,000 and I slide it under my mattress. At the end of a year, my $10,000 will probably be worth $9,200 because the cost of living is going up and the interest rates are going up and higher than the value of money. So if my money, now you still will have $10,000, but the $10,000 I have today will only buy me tomorrow the equivalent of $9,200, $300. So if it's under your mattress, your money's a depreciating asset and you're losing money. Now keep this in mind, because I want to talk to you about the power of what we really are doing. Now, if I have $10,000 and I put that in the bank, okay, if I say, I'll put my $10,000 into my savings account. You hear what I'm saying, Carl? If I do that, at the end of 1 year, I will have made in interest, you ready for this? $16.81. Now, this is standard protocol. This is what people do. They keep their money in the banks. I give the bank my $10,000. The bank goes out and they invest in mutual funds. They trade Forex. They're making a lot of money. And for all of your trouble, you get $16 for loaning the bank your money while the bank continues to develop their billion-dollar assets. Okay? That's the truth. You need to know what the truth is. Now, if I put my money in the stock market, 4 to 7%, I would make between $400 and $700 for the year. For the year, okay? If I put my money in a mutual fund, I might make $1,200 to $1,500 for the year. And that's if the market's good. If the market's like it is now, I will have lost money for the year. Last year, the market at this time was higher than the market is now at this time. That means if my 10 grand was in there a year ago, now I only have $8,000 because that's the truth of the market. So the mere fact that nobody has lost, everybody has continued to make money, even in a troubled market, that's honestly very good news. And you just need to know that in your mind. Now, if I put my $10,000 in a program that was getting me 10% a week, which is not possible right now in this market. You hear me? It is not possible in this market. I figure I could sit here and tell you a story and lie to you and say, oh yeah, it's possible. Listen, I'm telling you, in this market, it is not possible. It's impossible. But if I did that, then you have $1 million, $1.5 million. And I'm telling you, in this market today, it's not possible. When the program started and there was 10 or 15 of us, we got 10% every day religiously. But as the number of the people in our program grows and the market has plummeted and then it rebounds and then goes down more and it looks like it wants to go up, so we put a position in and then it goes down more. It is not possible. You know, it's not possible for me to do it. Maybe there's a man out there that can do it, but it's not me. But what's realistic is if I'm driving a car down the highway and I say I want to get from Erie to Grove City, I can drive 200 miles an hour. But if I'm doing that, the chances of me wrecking my car or hitting a pothole and spinning out of control and totaling my vehicle, the possibility of that is higher when I'm speeding 1,000 miles an hour. It's better to drive at a reasonable speed that will ensure that we get to Grove City and we can shop and buy Christmas presents, etc. Okay? And that reasonable speed for us right now in this market is 3 to 5% a week. Now, if you're getting 3 to 5% a week, this millionaire math will tell you my $5,000, I will be a millionaire in 3.5 years in the 100% program. But that's the truth, guys. I don't want to lie to you. If I could get 100% a day, I'd do it for you. I would have no problem. but I don't feel comfortable driving your money at 1,000 miles an hour. Because if it crashed and burned, you're all going to be knocking on my door, and I don't want to disappoint anybody. So right now, coming into Christmas and certainly after Christmas, nobody's going to be spending money. It's going to be cold outside. Nobody's going to be outside on the East Coast, and people stop spending. So the toughest time to trade is between January and the beginning of spring. Put that in your mind. Get your expectation into a reasonable place so that you won't be frustrated on the journey to your millionaire status. Now, if you stick with the program and you walk with the program, I'm telling you, we're going hard. We're not going to stop until all of us cross that finish line. But I want us to cross the finish line with the right expectation. And at this point in this market, 10% is not the right expectation. Now, if that changes tomorrow at the next Zoom meeting, I'll be saying, hey, 10% is back in play. But I'm telling you right now, it's not in play. I don't know if you guys watched, but FTT, the major crypto crash, it went from $16 billion to zero. Now, Tom Brady, Steph Curry, all types of superstars were in there. Binance was in there. And listen, they lost $16 billion. And that affected the market. When things like that happen, it affects the market. Now, if you were in there, you would have lost all of your money. If you put $10 million in, when it went to zero, guess what? Your $10 million is zero. If you put $1 in and it went to zero, your $1 is worth zero. So all these mega stars and very important people lost all this money. But that, I don't worry about that because we put insurance policies on all of our positions. But I say that just so that people understand that the market has permission to fluctuate if it wants. The federal government can say one word and it can make the market go up to the moon or go down to the basement. So I want everybody to understand and when I say we, I'm not talking about us as an office. I'm talking about the entire community. We can only have what the market gives us, okay? And we're getting that. Nobody's lost yet. So make sure you pat the staff on the back and tell everybody on the team, good job, because everybody at this point is winning, okay? So that's the truth. Now we have one more program, and I want to talk about that briefly. Most people know about the 50-50. Most people know about the 100% program. Most people know about the 13 and the 90-day program. The legacy program has about, I'd say, 20 to 25 more open positions in it. And it's not by invitation, it's by approval. So anybody who wants to be in that program has to go through an application approval. And I don't approve it. It's one of the people in the community. It's a small panel of people that are in the program, and they give you the thumbs up or the not right now to join the legacy program. But the legacy program, it's called legacy because it is the most stable program. It's not getting you the greatest return of all programs, but it's a program that gets you the most consistent number week to week to week to week. And it's a program where you can have the ability to take a drawdown twice a year, but it's very stable. It's a very predictable program that will guide you into your millionaire status over time in a very smooth fashion. So if anybody's interested in that program, you can feel free to shoot me a message and say, hey, can you tell me more about the legacy program? And I would love to fill you in on that. So, okay, moving on, because there's a lot of details about it. Most people don't even know about it, but it is a program that belongs to our community. So I feel like I at least need to extend that information to you. Okay, and then lastly, we have our community voice section now. So we're going to have, if you can turn on the microphone for Roosevelt, he's going to just speak. And we want every week somebody from the community to have the opportunity to speak. So if Big Roosevelt's out there, the mic is all yours.
Can you hear me, Doc?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hi, my name is Roosevelt Benjamin. I'm a part of this program. Been working with Dr. Collins for a while now. Good friend of mine. I've been knowing him for a long time. We talked earlier the week a couple of times about the 50-50 program, and I know a lot of people out there is very some people are unhappy about the checks, how they're getting out, when they're getting out, if they're late, if they're not. And it's all a formality that the office is going through with changing the program. Like it started off in a small program and then it got bigger. It started off in the office and they were able to pay out whatever they needed to pay out. Then it got a little bigger, which is good. And then they couldn't really handle it in the office because there was so much stuff going on. So they moved to checks, and the checks really didn't work out because of the banks were sending them back to Dr. Collins in the office. So now they're going to the direct deposit, and that's going to be the sort of the final straw of getting the checks out. But I wanted to touch on the 50-50 program, that this initial investment of the 50-50, like Doc said, it's about patience. And if you don't have the patience for not the waiting around for the check, but for the initial investment, like he said, the 100% would be it for you. If you need the money right now, this program, actually, the Urban Initiative is probably not the program for you. And I hate to say it that way, but it's the truth. This is a long term, and we need to change our thinking of how we want to be a millionaire. We all have and came from different parts and different walks of our life. And we all had this dream of being a millionaire. And so far, it probably didn't happen for none of us. So now here's a detailed program that he's putting out for us. And it's telling us to do this and do this and do that. But the main thing he's telling us is to stay patient. And if we can't stay patient, and Dr. Collins is putting out 6, 7 fires a day, that means we're pulling Dr. Collins off the trading block. And now we don't make no money. So we're back again to not making that $1 million, that we've been trying to make. So here's a person who maps out what we need to do, and we just need to follow along. Maybe we might miss a check or two, but at the end of the day, no one in our program has lost any money. So we need to keep that in the back of our minds that we ain't lost nothing. A lot of the programs, like I was talking to somebody, a friend of mine, actually a great friend of mine, 401k, he said he down like 30-some thousand, 31,000 in a year. So we're not down anything. So we're blessed for that. You know what I mean? So we just need to be a little more patient of what we're doing. And we shouldn't, getting in that 50-50 program, we shouldn't start buying new cars, new houses, all of a sudden thinking that each week that $2,000, if you got 40,000 in there, that 2,000 is going to be there on time to pay that, because there's such thing called the market. And if that goes down, your money goes down. So we just got to figure out what we need to do. If we need the money right now, he has ways of, contacting him and asking him, what should I do? You know what I mean? So that's my thing, coming from the community, that we just need to be more patient and have Doc putting out less fires. I mean, we all know everybody has a piece of, background of the streets. Just to keep it 100, like Dr. Collins is our bag, and we have to protect our bag, and we have to protect him and his sanity, because if he goes in after he didn't put 10 fires out in one day and he's trying to trade, he's probably trading erratic because he didn't handle 6 different, 7, 8 different problems in a daytime. So we have to keep him in a sane, mindset. So I mean, that's coming from me, which is a part of the community and a part of I am a part of all the programs. So it's about being patient. Let's train our brains, train them a different way, just to be patient, be very respectful, because nothing happens out of the form of disrespect. So.
Yes, I appreciate that, big man, very much. And if you don't mind, I'll just put this out there. Like he just said, he is a part of every program. If anybody knows him and wants to touch base and get a perspective on the legacy program, he'll give you a perspective from the partner side. I've known him for a while. I used to go, well, I used to, when my older kids were older, go to the YMCA and we walk in, we see this big, strong dude down there in his own side of the gym. Nobody went down there because the big man was down there. And we watched him work out for maybe 2, 3, or 4 years before I ever really took a minute to say, hey, what's up, big guy? He was kind of big and intimidating, but that's how I met Roosevelt. So again, I just want to remind everybody about a process. Because somebody was talking to me about, the speed of money. I made a request for money, and sometimes it happens like this. Sometimes it will happen overnight. But again, money in comes into the program in cash, check, or Venmo, Cash App. From there, it gets converted to Bitcoin. From Bitcoin, it gets sent to a Bitcoin wallet somewhere, gets converted, and then goes to a USD wallet. And then from the USD wallet, it goes to a platform, and then it gets approved, and then it becomes something we can work with. Money out is the same way. Now, the money in, the only part of the process we control is converting the money to Bitcoin and sending it. After that, nothing's in our control. We have to wait till it makes it through a process before we can work with it. Money back to us is the same way. It leaves the platform. It goes into a USD wallet. It goes to a Bitcoin wallet. After a transfer gets approved, it gets sent to our Bitcoin wallet. We then have to convert it to cash, from cash to the bank, before we can bring the money down and hand it to people. Now, I've been waiting for a withdrawal for a while. And I think last night I was driving, I was in Oswego, and it was like 12:53 after my son's game, and I see, oh my, the money's pending. But that was after 10 days. Sometimes it takes a day, sometimes it takes 10. So even though a lot of people have waited for checks, I want you to know, we as a program, the administrative side, we also have to wait sometimes. Sometimes it's right on time, and sometimes it's 10 days later. And so I just want everybody to be tied in and roped into the process. Love you guys. I'm excited about this. I'm proud of the staff. They are working very hard, and I feel like they're good, and we're ready for the right kind of growth. I want you guys to know we will work hard every single day at the trading post, at the investment post. We'll be working hard to be ingenuitous and finding new ideas and bringing the right partners on, so that we can all continue to move forward into the $1 million goal. It's great working for you guys. It's great working with you guys. And again, thank you for coming out tonight, and we'll see you all next Wednesday. All right. Good night, everybody.